Should standard sets include cards made for Commander? Yes. And I hate this version of the discourse. Why am I bringing it here? I don't know, because I'm a masochist. Basically, the argument is that Wizards is no longer designed. The cards that would be in a standard set for standard or competitive play are being replaced by Commander cards. And literally talking to designers of the game, that is ostensibly untrue. There is no way to make a collectible card game, period, that has every single card be viable in tournament play. You can make the power level as flat as you want, and even in that circumstance, there will be cards that don't see play. But beyond that, there aren't enough decks in a metagame that will facilitate all of those cards being playable. Even if you layer in limited, both sealed and draft to that cycle, making sure every limited card is playable, you are still going to end up with cards that just aren't playable in those worlds, or that you'd want to make like more interesting in other ways, or to try and come up with strategies that maybe don't end up being viable. So Wizards decided, rightfully, to make sure that every card that they print in a set is intended for a demographic and a playing audience. This means that the random, jank, bad rares that would never see play, or for really no one, or maybe at best for beginner players to like but then be disappointed when they weren't actually able to play with them, they now put cards that may be better in multiplayer formats, or put cards that would be better in best of one on Arena, or put cards that are maybe for niche strategies and Legacy or Modern that they want to give a power boost but then won't see any play in Standard or Pioneer. This does not mean that Standard is getting less good cards for the format. Now, a problem with Standard right now is that they moved to a 3-year rotation, meaning that every set's ability to affect the metagame is significantly lower, and the power level of cards needed to be implemented in that format are going to need to be much higher. For instance, until Shieldred rotates out, no black 4-drop creature printed by Wizards in a standard set is either going to see play, it's going to need to be very specific to a strategy that doesn't want to be using Shieldred instead, or is going to need to be more powerful than Shieldred, which would be bad. Does that mean that Wizards should not print another playable 4-mana creature? No. People are complaining that stuff like Obeka, Splinter of the Second, should not be ever printed into a standard set because it's not perfectly synergistic with the themes of the mechanics of the limited environment and isn't a standard card. Ignoring the fact that this set does have a little bit more of this type of card because of the fact that they had to take the Aftermath set that they were making for Thunder Junction and smush it into it, which is, if that set had done well, that wouldn't be a problem. But ignoring that fact, it's fine that this card is in that set. Not every card is meant for every format printed in Standard. And to be honest, if you have a problem with how much product they're printing, this is the place where they're going to print it. You can't have a problem with the fact that they're printing this many different sets every year and then say that those other formats don't belong in your format. It's ugh. Not to mention this idea is literally a statement that Wizards shouldn't try doing cool, unique designs in their set, even though yes, this is intended for Commander. This could see play in a standard environment, and cool cards that are off the wall could see play in a standard environment. The idea that Wizards can design cool cards that are interesting that are going to see play, but then also only designed for Standard, is going to make all of Magic more boring. This idea it's boring. It is a boring idea. Hit the follow button if you want more Magic lore content, or Magic, content in general. Or if you think that Obeka looks like Whitebeard. Her ability is Whitebeard.